Hello, everyone. It's Benay Dyor with the Coach Guardian, and I am here with Angelika Matev from Inner Guide Astrology. And this woman has blown my socks off with regard to a new term that I wasn't familiar with a couple of months ago called psychological astrology. And I asked Angelica if she'd come and join us and just tell us a little bit about this amazing tool just in case it might be a tool that you're interested in adding into your coaching toolkit. So, Angelica, thanks so much for coming. I'm really looking forward to unpacking psychological astrology together.
Thank you so much, Benay. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be your guest and talk about this amazing topic.
Yeah, something that you just radiate. Your enthusiasm is contagious. Okay, so let's start off with a little bit of background about psychological astrology. If we can start, like, set the scene for us. Who founded it? Where did it come from? How does it compare to astrology? You know, like when you open your paper and go and read your sign. Can you set the scene for us?
Sure, absolutely. Well, astrology is popular and it's always been part of human history, and it's a precious gift from the universe, a sacred system of knowledge that could really give and tell a lot if people decide to look at it the right way. So astrology is something that people actually know about, and yet they don't enough, because it's definitely more than just little predictions or grouping different people's paths in life based on 12 signs only. That's why, having just a daily prediction about something definitely doesn't give the whole value of what astrology could be. So traditional astrology exists in many different forms. However, back in the 50s of the 20th century, Benay Dyor was the astrologer who focused on a different way of interpreting and using astrology, which later was defined as humanistic astrology. The reason being, in his monumental work, Astrology of Personality, he introduces traditional astrology with everything that could be enhanced by adding analytical psychology, Carl Jung's work and teaching, and the archetypes. All this together is actually a great way to see the solar system as a paradigm of the self, and the zodiac as a representation of the structure of the psyche. Now, it might sound a little, far-fetched, but let's see how this actually all connects. So if we compare the two forms of astrology, traditional astrology is more deterministic and static. So the most you can be is right when you just look at a horoscope and tell someone, okay, this is what is happening in your life, this is how you are, or this is how certain things are. However, psychological astrology takes this to the next level by giving an opportunity for evolution, and it functions as a growth model.
Hmm.
So compared to just informing the client what's going on, psychological astrology gives opportunities to start taking steps towards resolving those issues. So that's why it's astrology evolved in a way. So traditional astrology is focused on the chart, that on events and on predictions. Psychological astrology is focused on the person, on the structure of the psyche, and it's oriented towards providing ways of understanding, exploring, healing, and resolving major issues as reflected in the birth chart. And that's why at times it's called counseling or even therapeutic astrology. So this is where actually astrology, therapy, counseling, psychology can join hands and provide a unique way of seeing what is going on in that individual psychological structure, underlying issues, self-limiting beliefs, blockages, and from there, all this can be reframed and behavior patterns can be changed so the person can actually emerge transformed after working and taking the steps.
Mm.
I guess that's more or less it.
That's pretty much everything. I think you've just done the whole interview. Well, you've really covered off actually really beautifully what makes it so transformational. And if I can kind of repeat back what I heard is
Mm-hmm,
that
mm-hmm.
it provides that gateway for evolution. So it gives you the, I guess, the shadow self or the things you need to look for that you can heal and that you can work through to actually take you to the next level.
Sure.
You did say it very, I'm sure you
Oh
want
no,
to
no,
add something to that.
that's
You said it very
exactly it.
poetically. Um,
That's exactly it. I can actually give a specific example if I
yeah, it'd be
may.
awesome. Yeah.
All right. Well, just one of my case studies, a client of mine. So uh, he came because he was experiencing a series of bad luck in relationships. So there was always something that after starting great, things didn't work out. So he wanted to understand why that is. You know, people start developing those ideas of, am I doomed, not to be happy in love ever? So looking at the chart, I realized that certain placements related to childhood, parents, upbringing, and messages internalized during the formative years are actually setting the tone for his approach and his attachment style and the potential role he could play in a relationship. So we started exploring, and turns out this person during childhood, his parents were super ambitious and they wanted him to be always the best and the first in everything, best grades, winning every possible competition, bringing awards home. When this happened, he received a lot of love and affection and praise from his parents. But the rest of the time, they were really reserved, and that was their idea, I guess, of motivating him to really be the winner. However, this formed the self-limiting belief that the only way to be loved and accepted and somehow attract someone in your life that would actually give you what you need in terms of affection and love is to prove that you're a winner. So what he was doing was actually meeting potential partners, women starting a relationship, and always talking about his achievements, always bringing up his success at work, career, courses, and wanted to impress them with that, becoming kind of robotic and a model of someone who lives only to compete and win. So his emotional self was really neglected, and he couldn't connect with people from that place, from the heart. He was doing it because he wanted to impress potential partners the same way he learned to impress his parents, because that was his definition of merit and worth. So we started working on when this happened, how it happened. And after a few sessions, he started realizing that there is so much more to relationships and to a person that can be invested than just, prove success and medals and champion cups and all that. And actually, he started a great relationship after going through all these changes, and his words, he felt reborn like a new person that is now able to do things he never thought he could.
Yeah.
And that was a great example of how the chart help us identify where this is coming from and how it can be fixed. And just to go a little bit more specific, that was indicated by the placement of planet Saturn in the sector of the chart, which is related to relationships and love life. Not to go too much into the technical language of it, but that is definitely an indication that subconsciously rejection is expected when Saturn is there. And that is based on some fears, unresolved issues. The underlying actually conflict comes from that exactly. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve love. This is projected, and the universe is happy to comply, you know. So
Mm.
that's what was happening for him.
I think that's phenomenal that you can look at someone's birth chart and just go,
Mm-hmm,
zoop, there's the relationship right there, and without even having a conversation. So, for a coach, or somebody who's helping a client explore,
mm-hmm,
to have that, I guess it's kind of like doing a personality profile or a disc, but an astrological astrology birth chart reading is just goes in just at a different level. Each of those profiling tools is very, very different, right? And each has their own magic and benefits. But the thing that
mm-hmm,
amazes me, so I've got a very scientific husband, who's like,
mm-hmm,
oh, astrology, blah, blah, blah.
mm-hmm,
But I am just feeling into lately how, like, we're all energy, right? And we're a part of this moving feast, and the planets are a bigger part of that, and
mm-hmm,
the fact of their alignment in your birth, has
mm-hmm.
a certain energetic reading. Like, to me, that just seems really obvious. What do you tell people who are like naysayers about astrology or skeptics?
Mm. Well, that's perfectly fine. You know, the one thing that I strongly encourage people to do is, if they choose to deny something, to first learn a little more about it.
Hmm.
Okay, because there is this inertia, I would say, in the public's opinion, that some people who are more scientific, practical, when they hear astrology, they just rolled up their eyes and go with, okay, don't just waste my time with this. However, like everything else, before we're able to form an opinion, we should have certain level of knowledge about it. So again, I would say to people to just go and check the work of some prominent thinkers and astrologers and healers. A lot of them are actually philosophers, psychiatrists, doctors, and a lot of them say that this synergy between different disciplines that would put together astrology, psychology, counseling, therapy, coaching, if you want, psychotherapy. This could produce an amazing modality of approaching people's problems, because all these scientific disciplines I listed involving therapy and psychology and psychotherapy, they're great, they're amazing. However, parts of what is used there as methods is actually based on general concepts which are applied to certain cases when a client or a patient displays certain issues, behavior, and all that. What astrology does from psychological perspective is adding that unique, personalized blueprint of
Hmm.
that person's psyche, which is unique to them only and no one else on the planet. And I wanted to just go back quickly about what we were talking earlier. Like, okay, you look at a chart and you see placements, but those placements can actually express and manifest in many different ways. So we would see Saturn in that relationship sector in the chart in many other people's charts, and they would have different stories. That is because nothing in astrology functions in isolation. So it's the whole idea here, the integration, and what Carl Jung actually emphasized on, the process of self-actualization or individuation, is to become whole. This is the process where the different parts of the psyche that has been somehow disowned through negligence or ignorance, they're just have to be brought together so we can see at all the facets of that diamond called individual psychology, and polish them and see them, understand them, and accept them. The so-called shadow, which is another Jungian concept, is not something bad and scary. Yes, it's the place where everything that we are not happy with is being stored. This is the realm of Pluto, the planet that symbolizes transformation, purging, release, regeneration. And this is the indicator in the chart in what ways this person is actually being disconnected from the real nature, because that is our personal underworld per se. So a lot of people don't want to go there. However, we cannot cut this, off completely or ignore it or pretend it's not there, because it finds
It's
a way to
it's
come
the
out.
gift. It's the gift. That's where you gotta go.
Exactly. So that's why in Greek mythology, for example, Hades, which is the Greek name for Pluto, is the guardian of the wealth. So this is where the shadow is, this is where power is. And going from pain to power is actually this entire journey of exploring everything that we keep hidden there. And that is shame, guilt, fears, complexes, everything that is actually blocking us from fully realizing our potential. So, again, understanding, exploring, embracing, integrating.
Mm,
These are the processes that we need to include in this whole journey. So at the end, the person is actually together with all of their parts and they form a beautiful, unique whole.
mm,
Otherwise, I'm quoting here my mentor, Dr. Glenn Perry. He said, quoting another author, that if we don't express fully all of the parts of our psyche, we would be like two-dimensional cardboard angels, right? Nobody needs that. We have to be fully expressed personalities, and we have to be individuals with conscious awareness about what makes us who we are.
mm,
And that is the process of becoming whole, of becoming healed and integrated. There is no more inner war. There is no more, the inner garden, if I can use that metaphor, is cultivated. It's beautiful. It's blooming and blossoming. And that is what makes us whole, healed, and transformed.
mm. It's yeah. I mean, you did my birth chart reading about a month or two ago, and everything you said on there, like it's everything I've been working on and kind of figured out in the last maybe 2 years. Okay, maybe I've been working. It all seems to have culminated. I'm just like,
Yes.
why didn't I get this done, 2
Yeah.
years ago? Maybe I wouldn't have been like, oh yeah, that's totally it. But it's totally every sort of thing that I've been working on and kind of aha moment that was all just
Mhm.
there in that reading. I couldn't believe it. I mean, yeah, you don't know that whole story. It's amazing.
Oh,
It just
thank you.
shines the light
Mhm.
um, on those aspects of self and just bubbles it all up to consciousness for you, I guess, so you can make some new choices if you choose to, which
Absolutely.
I
And
love
and
tools that do that. I mean, it's so empowering and
mhm.
so helpful.
Exactly. And I thank you so much for saying that, because I always give all the credit to astrology. I just, put the work and the years of studying and practicing to learn how to apply this. But it is amazing. And it's great when people are actually open-minded and willing to consider a new way of learning about themselves first. There was actually an article I read recently in the New Yorker magazine, Astrology in the Age of Uncertainty. And there was actually there a mention about how the new astrology, which is psychological astrology, introduces the person to herself. Because again, we're past the time when astrology was used for predictions. I think that this is actually doing a disservice, and it's a big misconception about astrology, which I wrote in some of my articles that
In the Coach
are about to
Guardian,
be
check it
shared in
out.
the Coach Guardian. Yeah, that they're coming up next. But it's very important to be clear that the purpose of astrology is not to predict the future. That would be extremely disempowering and would create the mindset in a person that they don't have any role or say in what's happening in their life. That is taking away their responsibility and just leaving them with that victim mentality of, okay, I'm here, the circumstances will deal with me whatever they want. So that is the total opposite of what psychological astrology is trying to achieve, which is help a person learn about themselves, bring to light to conscious awareness the unresolved conflicts and issues, create strategies to overcome them, become whole, become empowered. So finally, they can live authentically, which is
Mm,
being true to themselves, believing in their own ability to own their life and create their reality. And I
mm.
think that now more than ever, because collectively we're still going through this major crisis with the pandemic, this is the time when a lot of people feel, more scared and, depressed than usual, because they think that it's impossible to actually make a lot of decisions in these times because there's so many restrictions. So we're just going to sit and wait. This is the perfect time, actually, because it's a popular saying in Chinese, their glyph for crisis is the same as for opportunity. So every time life presents us with something which is challenging and demanding, this is our call for progress, for making something out of the circumstances. Because when we are complacent and everything's great, we are not actually evolving. It's human nature. We need a little bit of challenge to see what we're made of. Okay.
Yeah,
And
we've got it now.
so it's not going to last forever, of course, and there are a lot of difficulties. It's not something to neglect, but this is the time to really look, at what's happening in our inner world and in the outer world, and focus on what can we learn and what can we do to really become ready and empowered to make positive changes in our own lives, exploring different opportunities, because a lot of old models are now actually stop working, and we have to be adaptable, we have to be flexible, we have to
Mm.
learn how to take care of ourselves, how to evolve as individuals, but also at a collective level, how to help each other, how to work, create prosperity, be online, exchange ideas, bring our visions to reality.
So what I'm
So
hearing you say is that psychological astrology for many could be that gateway to tapping into that contributor, that change maker within you. Is it?
definitely
Yeah.
so, because first, before we make any change, we need to believe in ourselves.
Yeah.
And that is the assertiveness and the self confidence and the sense of self worth that could be hindered or somehow wounded by certain aspects, parts of that person's story. So, by examining the chart and by taking them through different stages of their own story, working together helps them realize that they have so much more, so much untapped potential that they're neglecting. And once this connection is made, it's like this wow moment when they realize that I should have done this way earlier, because I can truly be someone else. I can really create what is happening to me and by extension to other people.
Mm.
So, again, I'm not saying that psychological astrology is the answer to all the problems of the world, but I'm saying it's a great step and a tool of inestimable value when it comes to exploration of the inner world, the individual.
Yeah.
And I think here we can definitely draw a connecting line with the collective future, which would be a lot brighter if it's composed of individuals who are healed, integrated, and happy. This is how together we can.
Hallelujah. Yes. Heaven on earth.
Yes,
It starts here. Um,
yes,
okay,
definitely.
so I think that you've done a brilliant job with talking about the benefits and setting the stage for what psychological astrology is. So what I'd like to look at now is let's switch gears a little bit, and for
Mhm.
our audience who's listening, who are like, "Wow, that sounds like an amazing tool. I'd love to have that in my toolkit." Could you maybe talk a little bit about your journey with like how when did you get trained, where did you go, how long did it take, because you are like a walking encyclopedia of like all the planets, and it's amazing. Like every time you talk to
Thank
me
you.
it's like, oh, da-da-da, this is um what did it take to get to the level that you're at?
Sure. Well, I was 13 years old when
Oh.
when I found a book on the sun signs by Linda Goodman in a small library. I was living in Africa back then with my parents, and I saw that book and I couldn't, take my eyes off it. So I was starting like flipping through the pages, and I realized that this is something I have to learn like by tomorrow. So anyway, that's when my long journey started, my lifelong passion. I discovered astrology, which started giving me the answers and putting it all together as something which revealed different dimensions of meaning, So to me, maybe because I have a lot of Sagittarius in my chart, meaning is very important. So I really wanted to understand why we go through certain events in life. What is the purpose of the developmental stages we go through? How we can actually resolve some issues that we're all facing, but in a different way. Is there a pattern? Is there something? Where are the keys, to actually find the answers to all this? So I studied astrology with a couple of teachers first, and because I traveled a lot in my life, so part of this happened while I was still in Europe. Then when I moved to the States and later on to Canada, I decided to actually do this formally because I studied for about 10 years with private teachers, people I knew, and on my own. And then I signed up as a student with the Academy of Astropsychology, founded by Dr. Glenn Perry. And he is actually one of the brilliant astropsychologists, along with, as I mentioned earlier, Dane Riddier being the founder of this whole new discipline. And then other names such as Liz Green. She is one of the leading astrologers in the UK and has her own school on psychological astrology. And of course, there are other names. I highly recommend the work of Stephen Arroyo, prominent astrologer. Alice O'Howell, she's a Jungian analyst and an astrologer too, and Donna Cunningham and Howard Sasportes, and there are so many names. But Dr. Glenn Perry is actually part of this lineage of great practitioners, and I'm so glad I discovered his school. So that was online mentorship program with a lot of practice and different assignments and calls, live seminars and case studies. So that program has two levels, and I covered both. I got certified, and it takes you basically from the foundation up until the ethics and the moral code for professional astrologers. So it covers everything that is needed to learn how to practice, how to deliver the service and the value, how to do it ethically and professionally.
And
So the reason,
I'll get some links from you at the end, and we'll put
sure,
that in the show notes
yes,
for anybody who's like,
definitely.
"Ooh, what was that?" Well, just make sure you read the
Yes,
article attached to this.
absolutely. Absolutely. I'll provide those. Well, the reason I chose Glen Perry School is because I was looking for a way to study at the same time psychology and astrology, because I'm in love with both disciplines. And until then, I couldn't really find, one system that would merge them together. So for me, that was an amazing discovery, and I'm so glad I did, because by doing this training and this practice, I learned amazing and in-depth concepts and ideas and practical ways and strategies to provide readings and consultations to clients. So it really gave me this very strong confidence of being capable to help and to also raise awareness about the value of that amazing discipline. Now, the next thing that happened was that I realized what I do and what I know now is fantastic. And I worked a lot with one-on-one clients in the past. However, with the changes that occurred in the world, I decided it's time to bring this online as a business that would reach more people. And then I had the idea of adding a couple of more uh, parts and modules into what I was already doing. Because again, a birth chart consultation is amazing, but it's a journey. It's not a
Right.
one-step process. So just by revealing the issues and shedding light into what's going on and how the person is actually in need to face all these challenges and resolve them. If you just do that, it's not enough, I said to myself. So there must be something else, which is actually the more kind of therapeutic approach, and it's related to inner work. Again, a disclaimer for people who have specific conditions or in need of medical professional experts, such as a psychotherapist, mental health practitioner. This is where they should go. What I do is for people who don't have this as a medical condition, but they're on the journey of looking for answers. They want to discover who they are. They want to use a personalized tool that combines science and spirituality and my own intuition and knowledge of the world, of course. So all together, this provides a clear picture of what's going on. Now, the next step is the inner work module. And in there is where the real work begins, because I use different steps and different material, including tests, workbooks, exercises, activities that
Mm.
guide people through the different pain points that we have identified and that they need to work on, such as, steps to disconfirm self-limiting beliefs after we identify where they come from.
Mm.
And then how is, for example,
Would you say that those the follow-on techniques are more, are they still using psychological astrology
yes,
techniques,
yes,
or are they
yes.
weaving in more of a coaching, because
Actually, in
methodology or
in this part is very much connected to the astrology. Well, my whole service modality is based on this foundation.
Mhm.
Everything I develop, I use some material that I know it's working for similar issues. However, I do work with every client individually based on what I found in their chart, because
Yeah.
when you see someone with a lot of fire and air elements in their chart, if you tell this person, okay, we're going to take it slow, so don't worry, one thing at a time, they'll be frustrated. They'll be like, oh no, I need more action, I want this to go faster, so give me the essence of it so I can do it like yesterday. However, if you see someone with more water elements in the chart and placements, and if you tell them, okay, so here's your homework, you have 5 tasks, complete them, put them in tables and agendas, they'll be like, what? I don't like this kind of structure and this like homework academic approach. I need things to flow. I need imagination. I need intuition.
That's
Okay,
it.
so there you go. You can use this cookie cutter approach,
Mm,
when you actually give everybody the same thing.
mm,
So modality, which involves inner work, is very much based on their individual chart. And I keep bringing placements that is like ongoing for the duration of the time we work together. Because, for example, the solar archetype, which is the sun sign, the solar archetype energy in a chart expresses the ego structure, the sense of personal identity, who we are as self-image, self-worth, ideas about ourselves. So if there are any aspects in the chart that are directly wounding the ego and that personality, because that's possible to see as well, then the first thing to be done is to help this person understand that life is not about blaming and suffering. Okay? The approach, the perspective needs to be shifted. So every inner work activity, such as letting go, forgiving, and all that, would be very much emphasized to reflect the needs of that person to first heal their sense of self.
it's
And from
amazing. It's
there,
like it gives you a template, or I think you called it even a blueprint or
mhm,
recipe for
yeah,
just unlocking and helping that person get in tune with the highest their highest
the
potential.
different,
And then you
yeah, the
just
different
you
moving parts.
yeah, and you've got this like tool set of things that you pull in when you know, oh, they need that right now and they need that right now. It's just great. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just conscious of the time.
Mhm.
Can you tell me a little bit about, I mean, is anybody who's a coach like should they consider taking this on as something to add to their toolkit, or is there something really special about a person who's, you know, a really great, what makes a great psychological astrologer? Like if somebody's thinking, oh, I wonder if I'd be suited to this modality.
Mm, okay.
Who, in your
Yes.
opinion, like who's a, like makes, what's the profile of a great practitioner?
Sure. Well, just very quickly, I want to go back to what I was talking earlier because it's connected to your question. So, the blueprint, the birth chart analysis, the inner work modality, and then the third part is the coaching that I introduced. However, I do this at the at the final part of the cycle because coaching is much more effective when it's done and applied to a person who went through a certain level of transformation already. So this person, if they start with the coaching and set their goals from that place of being wounded and insecure, their goals would be also smaller and not so expressing their ambition to thrive. So once we go through that analysis and the inner work, the person is much more empowered to set different goals, and then come the strategies on how to achieve them. So this whole thing, these three parts are very much connected, and that's why I think psychological astrology has a lot to contribute to coaching altogether. And I would encourage strongly everyone who feels that this is something they could take advantage of in their practice and serve their clients better, to consider reviewing some of these schools that I mentioned, which I'll provide links for. But the first thing would be to be actually open-minded to accept that astrology is definitely not just some idea with predictions about 12 groups of people who have 12 paths in life only, and that is shown in the Sunday, daily horoscope. So that's not it. So if you're willing to, with the flow of new energies that we're experiencing all in the age of Aquarius right now, to consider introducing a new way of looking at things about yourself first as a practitioner and then your clients, definitely give it a try. And if you're willing to trust that astrology has a lot to offer from psychological perspective, and just leave behind the prejudice and the misconceptions about this being something that an old lady does in her backyard, for people. Yeah. So this is definitely
It's a
this is
different level, yeah.
definitely the future in a way, because again, individuals are at the center of everything that is happening right now. And like I said earlier, Aquarius is all about community of evolved individuals. And one way to contribute to collective evolution is to start with helping people to become consciously individualistic in a good way, that is not selfish, that is not egocentric, that is a healed and
Whole.
whole individual that is capable of giving the best they have, becoming the best version of themselves, and making the most of this life on this planet for themselves and for others. So that's why, again, it's worth looking at different ways to enhance your practice. And for those who are willing to do that, again, look at this links I'll provide later, or I'd love to connect and reach out.
Well, that's actually my next question is how, if someone's like wants to know more, I would say that probably having a birth chart reading, if you haven't done one
Mm-hmm.
yet, would be a great start. Is that, do you do those for just anybody? Do you have, how does that work?
Yes. Yeah. Well, on my website, I have a program guide. I offer different services. So my most effective program is the one that I mentioned with the three components. But
Three.
I do just birth chart readings, which are individual sessions, and it's possible to book a call. I offer a discovery call first because it's extremely important to get in touch with the person before doing the reading. It's not a digitalized way of just pulling some calculations. No, I need to establish that human emotional energy connection first, hear their questions and concerns, and then study the chart, prepare with notes, and be ready to deliver as much as possible during the session. So again, people can email me. I'll post my.
We'll put the link to your website
Sure.
in the
Yeah.
notes.
So
Yeah.
email me or book a call on my website for a discovery session, free discovery session, so we can talk about what we can do together. And yes, I'm open and ready to help talk about psychological astrology, do readings, guide people, and learn in the process myself. Because I have to tell you, I'm so grateful to the people I work with for the trust and the privilege to be part of their journey, because with every single person, I add something to my own knowledge
Mm.
and practice, because the actual journey of that person validates everything I do. It's my biggest reward,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm
I
doing.
reckon a lot of people listening to this will be able to relate to that. As a coach, like
Yes,
your
thank
clients do, yeah. You learn something from everybody, and they all make you better.
Yeah, I actually also invite people, if they check out my website, to check the testimonial page
Mm.
I have, because I work with people from all over the world, different walks of life. Australia, I have clients, the US, Canada, the UK, Brazil, Norway. So all these people, have a very different individual story, but it's amazing when you read back the testimonials and everything they share after we work together. That validates what I do and inspires me to keep
Yeah.
doing it.
Fantastic. Okay, so it's the time in the interview where we get to go to the bonus questions, where we learn a little bit about you as a person. I mean, I guess
Sure.
some things come through with just how you talk about your passion of psychological astrology. So it's got 4 questions. So the first one is, just to wrap up, what would be your number one advice to the coaching collective right now?
Well, I think it's extremely important for all of us to be ready to move to the next level
Mm.
as coaches and in our practice. What I mean by that, of course, every day become better at what we do, but be open and ready to add new dimensions, new modalities, and new ways to serve our clients. And that has a lot to do with this evolution that we're going through collectively right now, although still painful, but we're getting there as humanity. So I would say be authentic, always true to yourself. People sense that. This is
Mm.
the biggest, actually, and most effective way to connect genuinely with clients. So be authentic, be strategic, I would say too, because it's important to have a clear idea on how to help each client and develop strategies and ways to do that accordingly. And be spiritually aligned with everything that you do in your practice. Because I think that spirituality, again, we need to kind of reframe our ideas about things.
Mm.
Astrology, spirituality, a lot of people think about this as something without value, without practical application, the woo woo stuff. No, spirituality is our connection to Mother Nature, to the cosmos, to the universe. We're part of it. We are the stars. They are in us and we are in them. There is no such thing as disconnection here. The principle of interconnectedness is everywhere. The more we understand that, the more we'll actually be able to see how spirituality, which is simply awareness of how we are part of the whole, and how we can help each other through love, compassion, and being able to deliver our creative gifts and talents. So all that is the main reason why we can actually be happy working with other people and seeing the results that are coming back to us, because this is the component which is the greatest satisfaction, right? When we can actually see how everything we gave to someone is coming back in the form of their transformation, their happiness, them being already on the right path on their journey. So this is the component which brings the spiritual satisfaction of being part of one big
Mm. I have
unity.
to, I do want to, I kind of spent most of my adult life actually not a very spiritual person at all. I didn't really
Mhm,
understand what it was. I'm starting to awaken to it in a really big way. I was reading a book the
mhm,
other day that I just loved what it said. It was talking about that, we have different systems, let's say, of economy, of education, of government right now, and each of those systems have a spiritual component and they have a man-made component, and both that each have their own set of rules or things that you need to comply with in order to function today. I just loved that because it gives equal value to the spiritual as and the man-made, because spiritual people often can dismiss, like, say, the rules of finance or whatever, because I'm spiritual, I don't need to pay attention to tax law
oh,
and
no, no,
whatever.
no, no,
That,
no, no, no. That doesn't work that way.
yeah,
Definitely
yeah,
no. We need both. We definitely
yeah.
need both.
And I
And
just loved
we
that because it just showed that they're together. Like, it's all about a return to wholeness. Like, they're both important and they both have their place. So for me, it was really validating just to have that
well,
concept.
definitely. And it's about, maybe it's a bit of an oxymoron, I don't know, but practical spirituality would be just living in our daily life with the conscious idea that everything we do is actually part of the bigger whole, and our souls and things that we cannot see and touch are definitely there to remind us that the left brain reality, which is focused on material things, on practicality, is definitely necessary, but we have to balance it with the right amount of faith, spirituality, higher ideals, imagination, creative talents, art, and all of this put together can really be the recipe for
All right.
enjoying every aspect
Yeah.
of reality, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is how this should be approached. It's not, I'm definitely not about, because some people talk only about light workers. So any extreme would be, creating this balance. So we
Mm.
can't just live in this world where things are completely disconnected from any practical way of dealing with reality, because we live in this three-dimensional world and we have a lot to go through on a daily basis. So we can't just ignore that and be the dancing and the ascension every day with angels. That's great, I agree, but we have to be conscious of it. We have to do everything we do should be done with this conscious awareness about the imprint, the energy imprint of our actions. That's where true spirituality comes. So do something well, do it good, do it with all your heart, give, receive, and do this dynamic of exchange with other people based on that spiritual connection for the practical application and use that we can all enjoy
Mm.
when it's done in a healthy and really, you know, from the heart way. I love your topic actually for the month, the theme.
Oh yes, the theme for May, working from the
That's
heart.
amazing.
Okay, that was a very robust response to advice for coaches. But just to sum it up, so
Ah,
be
yes.
authentic, strategic, and spiritually aligned. So let's move on to the
Yes.
next question because we've still got three more. So, what, just in a nutshell, what is your personal definition of success?
Personal definition of success. Well, because I connect definitely this to my work. So I would say receiving more and more reviews and testimonials from those clients I worked with, showing that they have achieved the desired outcome and that their life is much better after we work together. So that would be the best validation of what I do. Of course, by doing this and again, raising awareness about the value of psychological astrology, which definitely needs help to be understood and embraced by more and more people. If I'm able to do that, then it's also another part of my success. And as every other person, financial stability through what I do and being able to enjoy and share all this with my loving family. So
Nice,
I
thank you.
think with these components, I would call myself successful because, again, this is what I want most. Deliver results, bring awareness about the real value of psychological astrology, and being able to enjoy the results of all this work with the people I love.
Okay. And Angelika, what are you grateful for?
Well, I'm grateful for the opportunity to have found ways to learn exactly what I wanted to learn, which brought me exactly where I want to be.
Your soul just
Because,
filtering.
well, it's not easy to find a school, for example, for psychological astrology. It's not something that is so popular, and that's what I wanted. And somehow, again, my own path, God, my spiritual, you know, protectors, I guess, brought me to that academy where I was able to learn exactly what I wanted to learn. And then from there, I'm grateful for the inspiration to put this together with different methods and create a modality that is definitely helping me deliver what I have to share with others. And I learned at this point in my life to be grateful for everything that happened to me in my life, which wasn't a walk in the park. I had my own dark night of the soul years back. I lost loved ones in a short period of time. But when we are in the middle of the storm, everything seems horrible and impossible. However, like they say, we emerge stronger, which is the purpose of the storm, right? And from there, we can start a new page, new chapter, new book. In my case, it was a new life book because I had to start over, literally, from the ashes. So I'm grateful for being able to overcome that and do it being more inspired to continue instead of being ruined or bitter or angry at life because certain challenges and really difficult events happened to me. So I learned to be grateful for all of it and to be really able to extract the essence for the meaning of all these events because every single one of them taught me something and made me the person that I am. And I hope this is very much aligned with what I'm supposed to do, my purpose, and reflects in my work so I can be even more genuine because I've been there, done that literally. When people come to me, I, I went through a divorce, through a widowhood. I got remarried recently to the love of my life, much younger than me, takes courage. But I did all this knowing that I'm equipped and empowered enough to go through different stages of life, move through countries, start new jobs, study, make changes, and finally be where I am, which is, I hope, at my prime right now to deliver everything that God gave me for the greater good, work with people, help, inspire others.
Nice. And last but not least, three truths that you would share if you had to just pick three truths that you'd share with your nearest and dearest.
Well, I'd say the first one is our life, our reality is a reflection of who we choose to be. So choose wisely. It is a choice. It is a choice with some variables. We're given more of this, less of that, but we can always choose to, you know, dwell in what we're lacking or choose to make the most of what we're given as opportunities and possibilities. So that's how we create a reality.
Okay.
And that's why choose wisely. The second one, it's never too late. Definitely. That is the one thing that I would, keep saying over and over because, again, I'm the living proof. There is always a new opportunity for a fresh start. It's not too late to love, to learn, to evolve. So be bold, be adventurous, and welcome new things in your life because that's what spring is about, right? Renewal. We can all do it. We don't have to be stuck.
Nice.
And the third one, Well, love, make love a priority in your life, because everything can be overcome and healed and learned and changed when it's done with love. And sometimes, the people that need love, the hardest to love, needs love the most. So we have to remember that. And love yourself, love others, love the magic of life.
Hmm.
Love. That's it.
Fantastic. Angelika, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your passion for
Ah,
psychological
yes.
astrology with us. You are amazing at what you do, and I'm so excited that you're writing for the Coach Guardian and just to have got to spend this hour with you today. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Benay, to you for your great work, because you have created, and actually I can add this to my list of things of being grateful for, because we met and you gave me that opportunity to be part of your community, to write for the Coach Guardian, and to do this interview today. So I hope, there are more people like you in this world, because it will get way faster where it's supposed to be. If we're all contributing to that. Thank you for your all amazing work, for all the people that I met through your work. And I hope to meet more and more. So thank you so
Absolutely.
much. And to your amazing audience as well. Wishing you all prosperity, much love, and all the best.
Yeah, and just one final note is Angelica's just started doing a monthly psychological reading for the coaching collective. And the first one was just out this month in May, and she'll be starting to do one of those for each month. And so far, I have to say, I'm blown away with how that's reflected in my own experience. So check it out. It's the
Cool.
Astro, what is it called? The Astro, sorry, I just mind blank.
So the Coach's Cosmic Compass.
Oh, that's the name
That's,
of the
yeah,
column. Yeah, and then there's
yeah.
the astrological
It's
reading.
it's an Astro Bulletin,
That's it, Astro Bulletin.
which presents the key astrological events for a month and how they can actually help you navigate certain transits at a personal level and in your practice as well, because it's really, down to earth, very, very applicable guidance you
And
can use.
tailored to us, like who are
Yeah.
in business
Coaches.
doing this great
Yes,
work. Okay, we better wrap it
definitely.
up there. Thanks so much,
Okay.
Angelica. Thanks everyone for making
Thank
it
you.
and listening in. Okay.
That was amazing. Thank you so much.